we are now ready to move on to the next part of our upper wing, which is the flower. So first we're going to do the internal petal, then we'll move on to the external ones, and then later on we'll do the tiny ones at the back, and then the frame. So working from the front of our pewter on our liner, with a medium to a hard pressure, we draw in that first middle petal. We can then remove our pewter and place it on our hard surface and flatten from the front. We can then use our Teflon tip to tidy up the edges. We can then place our pewter back to our semi-soft surface, still working on the front of our pewter. Again, using a medium to a hard pressure, we can now draw in the second petal on either side of the central one. We then remove our pewter from our semi-soft surface and we flatten from the front. Using our Teflon tip, we can tidy up in the small areas in between the upper wing and the flower petals. Place our pewter back onto our semi-soft surface and we continue with the next two petals on either side of our flower. Still working from the front of our pewter, still using a medium to a hard pressure. We remove our pewter from our semi-soft surface and again flatten from the front on our hard surface. We can then use our Teflon tip again to tidy up the edges. Use the tip of the tool to get into the tiny areas. We put our pewter back to the semi-soft surface and we can add the tiny petals at the back. Remove our liner or the semi-soft surface, place it back onto our hard surface, and using the tip of our paper stump, we flatten as much as possible. And for the tiny areas in between the petal leaves, we use the Teflon tip to flatten and define. We can then add a little bit of height from the back, so we turn our pewter upside down, place it on our soft surface, and using our Teflon tip, we can draw in the detail lines from the back. We're using a medium pressure, and we draw a detail line in each one of the petals. We can then turn our pewter back to the front, place it on our hard surface and flatten around again. For the next step, we can add the little frame around the flower, and then we do the main frame. So we go back onto our lino, still working from the front of our pewter, and we first draw in the frame around the flower, working with a medium to a hard pressure. We can then remove our semi-soft surface and flatten from the front. We can then return our pewter to our semi-soft surface so that we can do the frame around. Again, we're going to do the internal frame first, and then we do the outside frame. After doing the last frame, we can remove our pewter from our semi-soft surface, place it on our hard surface and flatten from the front again. Remember to flatten towards your design. Use the small skewed Teflon tip to tidy up the edges. We can now add a little bit of height from the back, so we turn our pewter upside down place it on our soft surface, and using our paper stump, we can add a little bit of height in the frame. We can then turn our pewter to the front, place it on our hard surface, and repeat the flattening process. So that is the next part of our wing done.